All right, I definitely appreciate everybody's time this morning to talk a little bit about nutrition, right? What to eat and what not to eat. The joyful conversation that everybody likes to talk about. What am I going to have for breakfast? What am I going to have for lunch? What am I going to have for dinner? On and on and on, etc. So I'm the health and nutrition coach here at Health by Design here in Jacksonville, Florida. But I'm going to start out talking a little bit about why, kind of testimonial, if you will, and why, I'm a big believer in the power of nutrition and the power of food. So myself, as a young man, I was always active, always in sports as a young man, and then transitioning into the work environment and working, full time and having that busy life schedule. I definitely found that I shifted, my focus away from nutrition. I guess I didn't really realize the importance and how much of a tool it is to our overall health. A day-to-day basis, but definitely with the busy schedule, definitely shifted more towards that convenience style eating, that we're all so used to, ordering out from restaurants, ordering, getting the prepackaged foods, getting the quick fix stuff that's already made. It was more of just eating eating to fulfill the hunger, right? I'm hungry, so I need to eat. Let me just get something quick. Let me just put it in my mouth, and boom, I'm done with it. I don't have to worry about being hungry anymore. I can move on to the next task. I can move on to the next project. I can move back, on to whatever it is that's on my to-do list. And so what I found by going through that process was, and as it advanced more and more over the years, is that my body really just started slowing down. I just started becoming more and more tired, more and more lethargic, more brain fog on a regular basis. I couldn't think straight. I was just making a lot of mistakes, and just didn't, was just losing my drive. And then for me personally, it got even worse where I ended up you know, um, developing depression as a result of it, from feeling like garbage on a regular basis. Lack of drive, just the opposite of everything that I wanted, and really couldn't figure out why at the time. So, I did all my do-it-yourself research of, okay, well, what supplement will give me energy? What's going to give, what's going to make me feel better? So, I'm giving, drinking coffee all day and drinking the 5-hour energy shots and the Red Bulls and taking all these supplements that, over-the-counter supplements, the do-it-yourself stuff for energy, but wasn't really getting the results that I was looking for. So it wasn't until I really, until it clicked that all that stuff, all that food or that non-food, I guess if I would call it, that I was putting into my body was really what was the root cause, or what was causing my body to be bogged down and feel so tired on a regular basis. So I started really paying attention to the foods that I was putting in my body. And in the beginning, I would say at best, and this was at the age of 32 years old, is when I really put a valiant effort into paying attention to the foods that I was putting in my body. So I would say at best in the beginning, it was 50-50. 50% of the time I was putting clean food in my body. The other 50% was still life happened, life got in the way. I was busy, bad habits, whatever it was. But what helped me was I started having good days, started having better days. And those were great, but really what was impactful was when I would eat the bad foods or the fast foods or the packaged foods, then I would feel like garbage afterwards for the next day or two. And so that's what really clicked for me is thinking, man, this is what I don't want. This is what I'm trying to eliminate and avoid. I want to feel like I do on those good days where I'm feeling energized. And so that helped me to say no more often to the bad stuff, right? And so that 50-50 advanced to 60-40 and then 70-30, 80-20. And now we live what we call a 90-10 lifestyle, where 90% of the time we're putting nothing but clean, nutritious foods into our bodies. And 10% of the time, hey, life happens. You've got vacation, you got travel, you got what the heck, you got holidays, and celebrations. So we don't believe it has to be a all or nothing approach. Certainly if you could do 100% of the time, God bless you. That's fantastic. But for us, 90-10 is where we're at. But the difference that I found for me and for so many people that are focused on the nutrition is now, I have energy like I did when I was a kid, right? So now all day, every day, I'm energized. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling, I've got that clarity of the mind, clarity of thinking. I'm productive, from the time I wake up till the time I go to bed, right? I don't have all of these symptoms and all of these issues that are bogging me down, right? So it's of great importance for us to get the things that we want out of life, right? And to be successful in life and achieve our goals. It's of great importance, obviously, for us to feel our best and for us to not have to deal with being bogged down with all of these symptoms on a regular basis. And so food is just, it's amazing how imperative it is and how critical it is. One of my favorite sayings, Anne Wigmore and Hippocrates have similar sayings. It's basically, food is either the best source of medicine or is the slowest poison. Right. And so that slow poison is really what resonated with me, right? Because it makes so much sense. Like if we ate something that was not good for us and it knocked us on our butts, right? And we were in a hospital bed for a week or for 10 days, it'd be a no-brainer. We'd be like, I am never touching that food again. That stuff is disgusting. Look what it did to me. But that doesn't happen, right? We eat the food, right? It disappears into our stomach and we're on with our day, our lives. But it is that slow poison that's having a negative effect in our bodies. But because we don't feel it right away, we continue eating the bad stuff, and then we continue eating the bad stuff and continue eating the bad stuff. But it's just slowly deteriorating our bodies, slowly causing those symptoms to come about, right? And then, it isn't until something major happens that we really kind of wake up and realize, wow, I need to make a change. So it's definitely, it's definitely critical. It's definitely impactful. And it is definitely an important tool, for our overall health and our overall well-being. So, so I'm going to share my screen. I'm just going to give you one example of what we offer here at Health by Design. We do a nutrition coaching program where we walk through. We work with our clients and our patients on kind of the education of what is clean eating. What are better alternatives? What can I swap out for? Swap out the bad stuff for the good stuff. How do I make this into a daily habit, right? How do I implement this into my life? So we've got about 12 different what we call sessions. Sessions are, one is grocery shopping and reading labels. How do I know what I'm putting in my body? Another one is all about sugar and the hidden sugar bombs. We've got sessions on protein, sessions on healthy fats versus unhealthy fats, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, so this is one of the sessions that I wanted to share with you guys, just to give you an example of what I'm talking about when it comes to nutrition. Are you guys able to see my screen? Okay. So we're going to start out with sugar, right? The dangers of sugar. And this is a big one for so many people, right? If you asked Dr. Christie, what's the one thing that I could do for to improve my overall health? Because there's so many different things, but if she had to pinpoint it down to one thing, she would probably say to eliminate or drastically reduce all of the added sugars that are being put into most of the foods that are out there in America today. So what are the dangers of sugar, right? Sugar can cause damage to your heart. Sugar causes inflammation in the body. Sugar promotes belly fat to be stored. Sugar feeds cancer cells. All of the bad cells thrive off of sugar, the bad bacteria, parasites, etc. There's so many chronic disease and issues that are attached to sugar. Now, sugar itself, just to put it into perspective, I'll give you some statistics, right? So some of the from the research. So our ancestors, right? Your ancestors, your grandparents and their parents and their parents that basically ate off of the land, they figured that they consumed about 2 to 6 pounds of sugar in an entire year. So in 1 year time frame, they consumed about 2 to 6 pounds of sugar. The average American today consumes 150 pounds of sugar in a year. 150 pounds. So you divide that out by 52 weeks in a year. And so we as the average Americans, in 1 week, we consume what our ancestors consumed in an entire year when it comes to sugar. Right? It's crazy how much sugar we're consuming, to the point now where I don't know if you guys know this or not, but sugar is now the largest produced crop on the planet. Did you guys realize that? That sugar is the largest produced crop on the planet. Sugar is king when it comes to crops right now. So here's another example. So research was done as to all of the available prepackaged foods that are out there for us to consume, right? So something that we could just buy and eat, right? It's readily available. We can buy it and put it in our mouths and it fulfills our hunger and we're done. They figured there was about 600,000 available options for us to choose from. 600,000 available options for us to choose from for prepackaged. They then tested every single one of those and they found that almost 500,000 of them had some form of added sugar. So 5 out of 6 of everything that's out there readily available for you to consume already has added sugar in the food, right? It's crazy. We were at the pet store a couple of weeks ago, and we couldn't believe that we were looking for dog treats for our dog. And we turned the bags around on the treats and we were looking at the labels, and the dog treats have sugar. Why the heck does a dog need a treat, right? Like, why is it even in there? It's not even necessary. It's just put in, it's way too many things, which is certainly causing a lot of health issues and concerns, for most people, especially the American diet, right? Sugar, inflammation, and stress are your 3 killers. Meaning sugar, inflammation, and stress, one or all of the 3 are attached or linked to just about every disease that's out there. So certainly a danger zone, right? So let's talk about sugar cravings, right? So our brain sees sugar as a reward, which makes you keep wanting more. It makes it tough to break the habit. Research has suggested that sugar could be just as addictive as cocaine, since it has a similar effect on the brain as powerful illegal drugs. But the good news is, once you do cut it out, your cravings lessen or are eliminated. And this may be tough for you to believe if you do consume a lot of sugar, right? Back in my day, when most everything that I ate either had sugar in it or converted to glucose, so converted to sugar in my body, probably would have had a hard time believing that the cravings would lessen if I didn't go through it myself. But now that I've switched over to the other side, if you will, and I'm now eating mostly healthy foods, I no longer have those constant cravings for sugar or sugar-based foods. Like the dry carbs that convert to sugar in our bodies. So other common causes of cravings. So these are good too. So number one is not enough water. Dehydration can feel like a craving for something to eat. The second one is very, very common for a lot of people: stress, unhappiness, boredom, or lacking something in your life, right? Stress eating. How many of us find ourselves stress eating, right? We got that bag of chips. We got that bag of whatever we like. We got that bowl, the bucket of ice cream, and we just keep eating and eating and eating and eating and eating, right? We go to food as that feel-good source. So certainly very, very common for a lot of people. We are, again, stressed, bored, lacking something in your life. So essentially what happens there is you are seeking something in your life. Your brain goes into work for you, right? Going in through its Rolodex of what are all the feel good, what's made us feel good or given us a feeling in the past. And so the brain's going to think of all the things in the past, whether it's exercise or stimulants or sugar or alcohol, et cetera, et cetera. And so naturally the brain is just searching for something to give you a feeling, something to give you that stimulant. And for most people, it's the food, right? We go to that food for that, to fulfill that. Whether it was what we were seeking for or not, it's just a matter of, giving ourselves a stimulant. So how do we combat against that? Number one is, first of all, is this awareness, right? We have the awareness of, okay, I'm craving this. Let's use chocolate cake for an example. So I'm craving this chocolate cake that every time I eat it, after I eat it, I end up with hives on my body, and I ended up beating myself up. And I say, why did I eat this chocolate cake? I knew that it wasn't good for me. I knew I was going to have these hives. Knew I was going to have this reaction, right? So when we're craving that chocolate cake or craving something, it's having the awareness to stop and say, okay, is it really that chocolate cake that I'm craving, or is it something else? What is it that I'm craving right now out of these categories: stress, unhappiness, boredom, lacking something in your life? If you can figure that out and fulfill that, right, that certainly is choice number one. If you can't figure it out or pinpoint it and fulfill it, what else can you do in a healthy way to give yourself a stimulant, right? What are your hobbies that you love to do? Do you love to draw? Do you love to write? Do you love to, whatever it is, that's going to give you some sort of feel good feeling? Can you pick up the phone and call a loved one, right? Plenty of examples of things that you could do for that stimulus. The best, if you can't come up with anything else, is simply exercise. Right. And I'm not talking about, okay, I gotta, commit an hour right now. I gotta change my clothes and go to the gym and commit to an hour of exercise. I'm talking about, like, can you just break away and take 5 minutes at that moment and just start jumping around like a fool in the privacy of your own home, right? Can you just start running in place? Can you start doing jumping jacks? Can you start doing high leg lifts, push-ups, sit-ups? Anything that you could do. Can you jump on an exercise bike for 5 minutes? Anything that you could do to get your heart rate up, get your blood flowing, and your body will naturally release those serotonin and endorphins and feel good chemicals that are going to automatically give you that stimulant that you're looking for, right? Certainly a healthier approach to take 5 minutes to burn that feeling off than it is to go after that chocolate cake that's loaded with sugar and is going to give you hives afterwards. So 5 minutes of exercise. And then that 5 is going to turn into 6 eventually, and 7 and 10 and on and on and on, right? Definitely beneficial for the body. All right, next slide. Sugar, sugar everywhere, right? We are bombarded with sugar, hence the fact that it is king, right? So forms of sugar. Here's just some examples of forms of sugar, right? The agave sugar, brown rice syrup, sorghum syrup, malt syrup, coconut sugar, date sugar, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are now over 50 different names of sugar that the food industry is putting into your foods. They have over 50 different names to hide it. You'll find foods that on the front label say are sugar-free, but then you look at the label on the back and there's 2 to 3 or 4 different types of sugar just with different names that are hidden into those foods. It's crazy. So listed in these forms of sugar, you may be looking at it and saying, you know, man, I thought honey is safe, you know, a safer form of sugar. Honey's safer than high fructose corn syrup, right? Coconut sugar, I thought that's a safer form of sugar than high fructose corn syrup. You're right. It is a safer and better alternative than a high fructose corn syrup. But the bottom line is, in your body doesn't judge, if you will. Your sugar is sugar to your body, right? On the inside, glucose is glucose. Whether it's a better choice or a safer choice, it's still gonna turn into glucose in the body. So under that turns into sugar quickly, right? In this column here, this is pretty much the staples of the American diet, right? The breads and the buns and the bagels and cereals and granola, chips, crackers, pancakes, waffles, pretzels, popcorn, you know, all the stuff that I call dry carbs, right? All this stuff turns into sugar quickly in our bodies. Top right of this form, added sugars, we already covered that. It's in most of the packaged foods. It's in your energy drinks. It's in your fruit drinks. It's in your fancy coffee drinks. I had a client in here a couple of weeks ago, and she brought in her Starbucks her iced chai tea, or chai coffee, I guess it was. And she pointed at it and she said, "That's my cheat. You know, that's my cheat. That's what I go to on a regular basis." I said, "Okay. So do you mind if I look at it?" And so I turned to look at the label, and it had 9 pumps of that chai syrup. 9 pumps of that chai syrup in this little medium-sized iced coffee. And I said, "Holy cow, you have 9 pumps in this drink?" And she said, "Well, yeah, today was a bad day. Normally I only have 5. I said, "Okay, 5. Wow. Normally." Yeah. Okay. Do you know how much sugar is in one of those pumps? No, I don't. I said, why don't you look it up real quick? So she Googled it, and there's 9 grams of sugar in each one of those pumps. So her normal coffee drink in the morning with 5 pumps had 45 grams of sugar. That particular drink that she had, coffee drink, had 80 grams of sugar in it. Absolutely crazy. And she had no idea. That's the key. She had no idea. You should have seen the reaction on her face. She actually threw that drink away. She had no idea it had that much sugar. But yeah, just absolutely crazy. So artificial sweeteners are another one that our bodies, our digestive system does not see these are chemicals. Our bodies don't see them as a natural food source. So many people are becoming sick and having issues from these artificial sweeteners. So what are the healthier or the better options when it comes to sweeteners? Your stevia, natural stevia, monk fruit, xylitol, and erythritol so far are the ones that have shown to not increase your glucose or glycemic index in your body. So stevia, monk fruit are both from, natural food sources. And then you've got your xylitol and erythritol. All right, so this next sheet is an example of the sheets that we hand out to our patients and our clients on shifting over to cleaner eating. What are the best choices to eat? So here's a list of all your carbohydrates, your complex carbs, your healthier carbs, which is fruits and vegetables. We have them broken down in columns based on their glycemic index or how much they convert to sugar or glucose in your body, right? So you see on the far right column, you have on the top, you have your vegetables, which are your starchier vegetables, chickpeas, grains, beans, lentils, white potatoes, soybeans, etc. And then you've got your fruits, right? So these are going to convert more in our bodies, convert to more glucose in our bodies. So these we're going to limit these to 1/4 to 1/2 cup per serving. Your middle column is your better choices, which we would still limit a 1/2 cup to 1 cup per serving. And then the column on the left is your best choices. That's your bullseye. That's your money zone. Those are the vegetables that you should be grocery shopping for on a regular basis. Every single week, you should be figuring out, how do I buy as many of these as possible and incorporate them into my daily intake, into my meals every single day. And it doesn't matter if you eat them raw, saute them in some coconut oil or some olive oil, or bake them or grill them. It doesn't matter how you prepare them, just the fact that you're getting them in your body, right, for the nutritional benefit and the nutritional aspect of it. So 1 to 3 cups per serving of these vegetables. And honestly, I don't think I've ever read any research or any articles on anyone that's overdosed on healthy vegetables. So I don't think you really need to worry about limiting these. And I don't think I've ever met anybody that's like, man, I'm on my 4th or 5th plate of vegetables. I can't stop. I just love these things. I need to go back for more. So just an example of better and healthier options of what to switch over for, or what to switch over to. And then all of our sessions that we cover, we also have healthy recipes in each and every one of the sessions as well. So these are just some options for some healthy smoothies or some healthy shakes. Chocolate peanut butter smoothie, berry smoothie, could be any flavor that you want. And then also a recipe for a healthy chicken stir fry. So that is it on the PDF. Any questions on anything there? I see your hands up. How do I get you back to?
Yeah, I think I can unmute myself. My question is about sugar and alcohol. So everybody on the call kind of knows my penchant for champagne and or Prosecco. So would you talk for just a minute about sugar and alcohol and just school me on that?
Yeah. Yep. So definitely it all converts to sugar in your body, right? For sure. Definitely helps, or it definitely stores that belly fat that's hanging around. That's hard to get rid of. Has a lot to do with sugar and a lot to do with alcohol. One of those, if you're going to consume it on a limited basis type of thing, right? Maybe that 10% or 20%. So 80-20 life, 90-10 life, right? Utilize it for the celebrations, for the parties, for the events. Definitely something that should not be consumed on a nightly basis or a regular basis, because it is just loading up with sugar, right? There are alcohols that are going to be better choices than others, right? For example, like a White Claw is going to be better than margarita or some sort of fancy sugary drink, right? A White Claw would be a better option when you are out and about at the restaurants, or something like a clear alcohol, like a Grey Goose vodka with mixed with seltzer. and maybe some lemon and lime, as opposed to, again, the really fancy drinks and the really sugary drinks. Because there's plenty, it's going to convert to glucose and sugar as it is. We absolutely don't need to add sugar to our, to our alcohol. So definitely limited amounts, limited doses. So I would also say, in addition to that, there's also thought on balancing your blood sugar, right? So if we're just consuming the alcohol and that's it, and we're dealing with that drastic spike of blood sugar, right, which is going to be short-lived, and then it's going to crash. And then if we don't consume any food for a while, now we're in a low blood sugar state. Definitely a helpful tactic would be to add some healthy fats and add some protein to whatever you're consuming, whether it's carbs or anything that you're consuming as far as alcohol base. That's going to balance out that blood sugar level, and it's going to help, so you're not dealing with the more of the severe or drastic symptoms. So healthy fats would be like coconut oils, olive oils, healthy butters, avocados, some nuts, some healthy nuts, some pecans, some macadamia nuts, some walnuts, olives are going to be good choices for healthy fats. And then protein is we're all familiar with protein. Good question though. What else?
Scott, I have a question real quick. So I kind of have, just on a personal level, kind of a layman's knowledge of macros and micros, and trying to track those kind of things, and trying to hit basic calorie goals. I've noticed that I either don't consume enough, there's that balance. You try to eat enough, but you also burn it off, so you try to go into calorie deficit, when weight tries to drop, kind of thing. Do y'all provide a kind of I guess it's a meal plan or some kind of education in that aspect of that, to follow along with hey, I got a goal of getting here, meeting macros and micros and those kind of things. So you're dropping weight or redefining your body shape based on those things?
Yes. So number one, we definitely can help you with the specific macros on what you should be going for. So we can figure out what your basal metabolic rate, so your resting rate. So it's going to tell, we're going to figure out the minimum number of calories that your body needs to operate if you're at a sedentary rate. So if you're just sitting in a wheelchair in a bed all day, every day, what's the minimum number of calorie intake you need? Then from there, we're going to figure out what's your activity level on a weekly basis. And then that's going to give us your goal calories. Right. And then from there, we're going to ask you, what are your goals? So are you looking to maintain your weight? Are you looking to add weight? Are you looking to lose weight? So adjust the calories from there. Then in addition, it's going to be, like you're saying, as far as macros, it's going to be the exact grams of protein you should be trying to get every day, the exact number of grams of carbs you should be getting every day, and then exact grams of healthy fats you should be getting every day. As far as part two to your question of the exact meal plan, we can give you ideas and suggestions on what to eat. We can point you in the right direction. What we don't do is give you, okay, eat this for breakfast, eat this for lunch, eat this for dinner every single day. Here's your snacks. We don't really lay that out for everybody, because what we found is everybody is unique. Everybody's individual bodies are unique, right? And everybody has different food sensitivities, different foods that they process well and foods that they struggle with processing well. And that's part of the benefit of what we have to offer at Health by Design, is we do what's called nutrition response testing. And those of you that were here or are familiar with us or know what that is. But those that don't, it is a non-invasive technique that allows the practitioner to use the technique on you. It's also called muscle testing, and it allows, it's your body telling them exactly kind of what issues are going on, what ailments, what organs need assistance and need help. But it also tells us the exact foods that your body is sensitive to, that it's not processing well. So for example, it may be eggs. Your body's not processing eggs well, but every single day, that's a big part of your meal, right? You're eating eggs for breakfast, you're eating eggs for lunch, you're eating eggs for dinner, right? So you're constantly putting something in your body that's causing strain and causing your body to not be able to heal completely. So that's what I mean as far as everybody's unique, right? So we want to be able to cater it specifically to you, but also B, more of coach and educate you and give you guidance so that you can explore and build a meal plan that's ideal for yourself, that is sustainable. We're trying to teach you guys habit forming techniques so that this is going to be sustainable for life, right? We're trying to help with long-term habits that are going to help you overall for your overall health. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. No, I probably need to get with you. It's probably save you a bunch of money in buying supplements as well. So
yeah, man, I'll tell you. So when I was doing the do-it-yourself, I was spending, when it was me trying to figure it out, I was spending so much money on supplements on a regular basis that I literally, my entrepreneurial brain got involved. This was way back. This was probably late 20s, where I said, why doesn't somebody like just put all of these supplements together, right, into one powerful, one complete, pill or bottle, so we could just take all of it for a fraction of the price. So I literally went through the process to start my own business, to create my own supplement formula. I came up with all the beneficial supplements, everything that I thought the body needed, right? And I sent it to a company to have it manufactured. They tweaked it, of course, to make sure it was healthy. They manufactured it. We bottled it. I went through the process to try to get it out in the stores and sell it, but all for the reason of exactly what you're saying, because I was spending a fortune in supplements, and most of it wasn't doing me any good because I wasn't getting to the root cause. I was eating junk food and dry carbs and stuff that was not good, not beneficial for my body, but here I am trying to fix it with all these supplements. So it was just a complete waste of money.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course.
I'll be reaching out to you, definitely.
Hey, Scott, this is Ryan. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts and opinions on plant-based diet to supplement meats with proteins? Obviously, there's been links to red meat with inflammatory diseases and those type of things within the body. What's your thoughts and opinions with plant-based diets?
Yeah, definitely could be good for good for select people, probably not for everybody. I've seen the documentary, seen the research as well. I even tried it myself. I've tried everything, over the years. And so it's not a bad thing, not a good thing. I started switching back to meats. I do consume meat. But the meats that we eat are all very, very clean meats. We try to find the cleanest meat source that we possibly can find, right? To avoid a lot of the toxins and the steroids and the antibiotics and the hormones that are being pumped into those animals. So we're trying to find as organic and natural as we can possibly get. And then we also limit the portion size, right? So I used to be a protein freak. I was just all about, meat and potatoes and vegetables, but I would get the biggest steak I could possibly get. I would get double chicken breasts, right? And I would just eat thinking that was beneficial to load my body up with a ton of protein. What I found through the research and through nutritional guidelines is that we only needed 2 to 6 ounces per serving per meal of protein, 2 to 6 ounces. So they said it was up to the size of the palm of your hand. So everybody look at the size of the palm of their hand, not their entire hand. You look at that, I did, and I said, there is no stinking way that's enough protein. There's no way. Like I would eat 4 to 5 times that. But like I said, I tried everything. So I said, all right, I'll try it. I was thinking I was going to be starving afterwards, but I wasn't. I lowered the portion size to the proper portion size, and I still felt equally satiated, or I felt just as full until the next meal as I did eating the larger amounts of protein. The difference was I didn't feel tired, like I needed to take a nap for 2 to 3 hours after eating. Whereas prior, before that, I was eating so much protein that my body had to just kind of almost shut down to digest and process all that meat and all that protein that I was putting in there. So it didn't really leave me any fuel or any energy afterwards until it was processed or
Now,
digested.
is that the
So
same? Is that the
say
same
again?
case? Is that the same case based on lifestyle? So if you had just an average lifestyle, or if you're constantly working out, you're training, wouldn't you need the more protein and the more fuel for the body based off of those needs?
Yes. So there's definitely different. There's different programs, different options, I should say, different options that we could do for you. We have back to supplements. We have a supplement that we carry that's made by Body Health is the name of the company. They're called Perfect Aminos. You could do research into that company as well, but it's a tablet or a powder that is all of the essential amino acids that your body needs. But that's all it is 100% amino acids or protein. And so it's already in a digested form. So your body absorbs 99% of the protein or the amino acids from those tablets. So we are able to supplement as well if you're not consuming enough through food. Whereas the research on food, right? I don't know if you know, I didn't know until I did the research, but we actually lose more than 50% of the protein through food through the digestive process. So the best source from food for protein is an entire egg. And an entire egg, we only absorb about 45 to 48% of the protein from that egg. The rest of it is lost through the digestive process, and that's the best. And so from there, the egg and then meat and your animal products, and then it goes down from there. But yes, absolutely, we could adjust it based on your activity level and and your how much you work out, etc.
Great, thanks, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Hey, Scott, can you talk a little bit more about finding these clean foods? Because, like we have Wegmans here, Tops, you go shopping at, most of the stuff there. I mean, they have organic stuff too, but I mean, who knows what's really organic or not anymore?
Yeah. So we're always going to recommend when you go to grocery stores is that you always shop the perimeter. So if you can imagine in your mind a grocery store, right? All of the real food, the foods that don't require a label to know what the heck they are all around the outside perimeter of the grocery store, right? Your produce section, your meat section, your seafood section, your dairies, etc., are all along the outside. The inside, the inner aisles, is where it's 98% danger, right? 98% junk. That's the stuff that's loaded with the sugars, loaded with the preservatives, right? No food should be able to sit on a shelf for 5 years and still be edible. It just shouldn't happen, right?
Well, I mean,
that's the danger.
More like the pesticides and, in the vegetables and things they also, in the produce department, they make those last longer by putting things in them to make, so how do you have to go to Whole Foods or something like that to really get.
Yeah, no, so you don't. So definitely, so everything that we personally consume is organic, right? And you're right, there are some, research and stuff. There's some controversy on whether it's truly organic or truly is it. Certainly going to be, a better option in our opinion than not, not getting the organic. Of course, growing your own or sourcing your own is definitely going to be the best possible option. But yeah, it's definitely going to those stores and getting the best products that you possibly can when it comes to the produce. It's getting the most colorful fruits, the most colorful vegetables that you possibly can find. It's getting the healthiest, meat options that don't have a bunch of, added stuff in them. It's going same thing for the dairy, right? We want to actually, there's our bodies thrive on healthy fats, right? So the whole fat-free and stay away from fat marketing ploy that's been going on for the past, few decades, right? It's not the fat that's bad for us, it's what's in the fat, right? So if it's sourced, it all comes down to where is it sourced from, right? So if it's sourced from an unhealthy animal, then we absolutely do not want to consume that animal's fat, because their toxins and all the bad stuff is stored in their fat. But if on the flip side, if it's an organic, grass-fed, healthy animal, then we want whole milk, we want whole fat, we want the benefits of those healthy fats. So Jerry, to really answer your question, it's going into the Wegmans, it's going to, farmers markets, it's researching in your community and finding, CSA's, community supported agriculture, where you can get direct from the farms, right? Try to find some farms that, that are minimizing the amount of chemicals that they're putting, on the fruits and vegetables. And selecting, the best options that you possibly can for real foods, right? So the goal is to try to get back to like our ancestors did, right? Try to eat off the land, or as close as you possibly can, eating off the land of real foods without man or without the food industry being involved, and changing and modifying and engineering and re-engineering and genetically modifying and on and on and on, so that they could mass produce as much as they possibly can for as cheap as they possibly can, so that they could feed 350 million Americans. So it takes, especially initially, it'll take some effort to figure out how to source those real foods. But once you do in your local community, then again, it becomes, now it's sustainable. Now it's a habit. Now it's just, just like what you're doing now. It's not, a lot of people have that misconceived notion that it's a lot harder to eat healthier or a lot more expensive to eat healthier. You can eat healthy on a budget. You don't have to go to the Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, the specialty stores and do all your shopping there. There's definitely others. So you can go to Aldi's, you can go to a Walmart. Even Walmart's going to have some natural, organic, healthy options. 95% of Walmart's probably junk, but they're still going to have some healthy options that are affordable. But as far as the hard work part, how are we doing on time? As far as the hard work part, let's face it, we have to eat every day anyways, right? Every single day you're figuring out what's for breakfast, what's for lunch, what's for dinner, what am I going to have for a snack, right? It's just right now where you are in your life is all of the choices, all of your go-to choices are the habits that you've built up to this point, right? So going forward to healthier eating, it's just expanding your horizons, right? And finding different choices of what to go to. So when you say what's for breakfast, what's for lunch, what's for a snack, right? Now you have a whole new list, and it's just all 80 to 90%, whatever your goal is, 80-20 living, 90-10, it's 80-90%, all really healthy alternative, healthy choices. So it's the same process, just different choices. Does that make sense? Cool.
Awesome. We've got about 7 minutes left. So if you guys have any other questions for Scott, April put his email address in the chat and I'll have it as well. And I know if you have any questions about Health by Design, I know that Merle and I are both clients there, just for whatever reasons. And just for an example, when I was tested, my things were corn, which I had no idea, and gluten, and I didn't have that, a while ago, but I had fallen off the wagon. And so Dr. Chrissy said, well, when you're consuming a lot of that stuff, then your body's like fighting. So now you're seeing that gluten is an issue for you, even though maybe it wasn't, years ago. So anyway, if you have any questions about that, then certainly reach out to Merle. We can tell you about our experiences, and Scott's available to you as well. But again, this speaks to ONU's just being committed to mind, body, and soul, and just providing information and food for thought. Haha. But I did want to I wanted to say thank you, Scott, so much for being here. And I did want to take the last 5 minutes, if you guys don't mind, for any updates from our ONU team, any good news or any interviews coming up or anything you need help with for this last few minutes before we sign off. So everybody give golf claps to Scott. Scott, thank you so much for your time and for the information. You have just been so super helpful, and I appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.